Then it comes to testing your understanding, our final area for that. And what we have here is that there are, and I can see there's a lot going on in the chat as well, of pointing people in the right direction for these, is that we have support on the website under exam success, where there are sample exam questions and answers to be able to support you. One of the things that some of you will be aware of, and others that you may not be aware of, but we're hopeful will be able to support you in preparing for exams, is the new CIPS Community platform. As members, you should have had reference or welcomes to this, but as you can see, if you log into My CIPS and go to the membership tab, you will be able to go to our community platform, which is an open forum for you to pose questions, answer questions, communicate with other students, to communicate with volunteers and members of the CIPS family. And you can therefore seek support in any areas that you're finding challenging and that you need that support. You can share your successes in revision, what has worked for you, post a picture if you've produced a really beautiful mind map, share your digital flashcards with others, all of those sorts of things, and see what other strategies other people are using in terms of revising. We also have a number of our tutors from study centres and CIPS tutors are regular on here and will provide support as well. But we also have procurement professionals and CIPS volunteers that may be able to support with some of the contextual stuff if it's not something that you're currently working with. So another great platform for you to be able to work with. So please do have a look at that and see what you could start up and how you could support others as well. So we do have a number of resources available for you to be able to support with those, particularly with the level 4. We are aware that some of you may still have the old level 4 study guides, if that's what you're using, and they are still relevant. About 90% of the content is still relevant. I think over 90% of the content is still relevant. But obviously making sure that you've got the right content for that module. We would advise, obviously, the new study guides are freely available for purchase, along with whether that's the hard copy, the ebooks, and along with our e-learning. So we also have the Student Hub for you to be able to access various different aspects, and the Intelligence Hub, which gives lots of contextual case studies around specific areas, particularly those new additions to the level 4 syllabus. And there is also support for your test reach and how you access the exam. One of the final things in terms of preparing for exams that I really want to say is that I want you to make sure that you stay healthy and that you don't forget to look after you. You are important, and all of these things are really important in terms of eating healthy, staying hydrated, making sure you sleep, that you've got a normal routine, and that you have that time to relax. And when I say preparing the night before, that's not cramming the night before. That's making sure that you are prepared for your exam the night before. You've got everything where it needs to be, so there's no last minute panic. Cramming is really ineffective, so making sure that you do plan in advance of those things. So making sure that you are looking after you. Effective exam preparation, and I do realise that I might be losing some of you in terms of time. So, if you can stick with me, I'm just going to go over those last few bits as we move forward. But the remainder of the session will be recorded and sent out to you. So in terms of preparation, 40 minutes is actually the optimum time to retain information. If you learning after that 40 minutes doesn't work, so making sure that every 40 minutes you're taking a 5-minute break away from whatever you're doing, moving away, getting a drink, having a wander around, whatever that might be, a 5-minute break within your 40 minutes is essential. Making sure that you involve others with your preparation, so knowing that to make sure that your colleagues, your family and friends are aware that you're preparing, what that timeline looks like. Review your revision after each session. So what has worked, what didn't, and therefore what are you going to do next? Have you tried a method, it just wasn't working for you? Do you need to try something else? And whilst you're at work, revise in the live environment. If you're working in procurement and supply chain already, what could you do? How could you apply the knowledge in what you're doing every day? And then think. And this thinking is reviewing your mind, your learning. There's a fine balance between thinking and overthinking things, but making sure that you're thinking about things as we move forward. So just a quick review, and like I said, I'm by no means an expert in procurement and supply chain, but just a quick review of your different types of exam questions that you may face. So you've got your objective response, so your multiple choice, and this is the you should be aware of what you're going to face in your exams in terms of each level of what that might look like for you, so you can see how they develop relevant to your level and what that might be prepared for. So an example of a question. Really important to consider not only what is the right answer when you're preparing, but if there are wrong answers, why are they wrong? That'll help embed your knowledge and understanding. And for your OR assessments, in terms of what you need to do, make sure you read the question and all of the options available before deciding what the response is. The evidence does suggest that people see what they think is the right answer, pick that, and then move on before they answer, look at all of the options. And so make sure you read all of them and do that. Attempt all of the questions. If you're not sure, make the best judgment. Don't ever leave a question not answered. You can make sure that you do that. And you can flag a question on the online computer programs, so you can therefore make sure that you can go back to it before you submit at the end. So if you do have a question you think, I just need to come back to that, make sure you flag it. For our CR questions, and I know these are a sticking point, I've seen in the chat there are a number of people asking for support around these. The biggest advice I can give you is making sure that you understand the command word, because that will help for you to understand. And like I say, there have been previous webinars and support material is available online for those as well. So what do you need to do for each of the command words? In terms of answering your questions, make sure that you follow this method. And you are then repeating it. So this is an example in terms of if you had to give 5 reasons, define the key terms used by the question, explain the relationship between the key terms and procurement and supply, and then go through each of your reasons by identifying what the reason is, what is the impact, how does that link to the question and the key terms within the question, what are the potential disadvantages, and then thinking about how you do that as you move forward. And finally, to finish, just thinking about your study options. So you will either be on one of these 3 routes, but they are available for you. So if you are struggling with as a self-study student, then know that study centres are out there to support you, as is our CIPS On Demand for you to be able to do that. And more information for those can be found on our website in terms of either locating a study centre or looking at our CIPS On Demand, which is our guided online course, which gives you sort of the independence and the freedom to work towards your goals as well.